I take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Dinesh Shetty, Professor, Khalifa University, Abu Dhabi, as keynote speaker for the symposium. On behalf of organizing committee and JSSTU, I welcome you, Professor. We have a prominent scientist, Dr. Yeruva Tirupataya, Scientist C, CSRDI, Mysore, guest of honor for today's function. I invited as an invited speaker. I welcome Professor Yeruva Tirupataya for the symposium. Today we have dynamic personality, Mr. Hemant Kumar, as a guest of honor for the symposium. He is from Sinjin, a unit of Biocom company, and he is head of analytical department. On behalf of organizing committee and JHSFE, I welcome Hemant Kumar to symposium. Please. Now I take this opportunity to welcome Honorable Vice Chancellor of our University, Professor A.N. Santosh Kumar, to the symposium in his absence. At the present, I take this opportunity to welcome Deans, University officials, Finance Officer, and heads of the department, and my own faculty members. I welcome all the students, research scholars, faculty members from various institutes, and JHSS2 for the symposium. I welcome our beloved principal, Dr. C. Nataraju, for this symposium. I hope all of you utilize this platform to interact and initiate collaborative research. Finally, I invite and welcome you all to EMSCE 23, where new materials, ideas will be presented by real scientists. We will emphasize commercialization as well to discuss how such research can impact real human lives, discover what's new in materials research and commercialization today. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your arms welcome address. I heartily welcome you to this program, sir. असतोमा सद्गमय, तमसोमा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतंगमय. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lamp lighting is a traditional ceremony that has been practiced for centuries. It is a symbol of knowledge, wisdom, and enlightenment. I now request the dignitaries to light the lamp and symbolically inaugurate the program.
Nick, someone participant. Symposium. Someone from student side. Yeah.
Thank you, dignitaries. May this land be a beacon of hope for all of us. I take the pleasure to request Dr. R. Jyoti Ramalingam sir, Department of Chemistry, Professor, King Saudi University, Saudi Arabia, to address the gathering.
Good morning to all of us. I introduce myself, Dr. Jyoti Ramalingam, from Chair Professor of King Saud University of Research. So we belong to research a separate center in the Saud University. So on behalf of the function, I would like to first thank Professor Danraj and Professor Mandu, both of them invited me to the JSS for today's talk. Also for the chief guest. I already gave the presentation in JSS group in the past, before 2-3 years, in College of Pharmacy in Ooty. And last year we also attended the webinar program conducted by Professor Mallo. So I would like to thank Principal Professor Naraj. I also welcome the chief, other keynote speakers, Dr. Dinesh and Dr. Iman Kumar and Tirupati, Dr. Tirupati. Okay, sorry to pronounce your names today. Anyway, today I can guarantee you, you will get some new information about the emerging materials in today's Internet Symposium. We have an expert, and I am also giving some very good information you never know about that in the past. That information I give in the afternoon. We came here particularly because of the students. So you want to lift you in the life to help you what we understand in our life. So please stay to the full day and understand what we are going to teach you today. Okay. About the emerging materials, so Yes, today the world is facing big trouble in energy as well as we are facing big problems in solutions. Okay, so our aim is to develop the technology. So we are working always to modify the technologies. Okay, so we are going to share, every expert going to share their thoughts. So I believe you will understand and you think yourself what we understand. From your point of view, you can get some kind of informations from what we understand. So I hope today will be the best day for you. So to continue the symposium. So I welcome other speakers to talk. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing few words with us. I now request the guest of today's program, Dr. Dinesh Shetty, sir, Professor, Department of Chemistry, Khalifa University, Abu Dhabi, to deliver keynote address to the gathering.
ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡುವ ಸ್ವಾರ್ಥ ಇದೇ ಇತ್ತು ನನಗೆ. ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆಯಿಂದ ನೀವಿನ್ನು ದಿನದ ಆರಂಭ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಒಂದು ದಿನಗಳ ಕಾಲ ತುಂಬ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲ್ ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಈಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಕನ್ನಡ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲ್ ಸೆಷನ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಟಾಕ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆನೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಚಪ್ಪಾಳೆ ತಟ್ಟಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಂಜೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗಿದೆ. ಚಪ್ಪಾಳೆ ತಟ್ಟೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ. ಸ್ಟಿಮ್ಯುಲೇಟ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಡೂ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್, ಇಟ್ ಸ್ಟಿಮ್ಯುಲೇಟ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ದಿನ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವ ಆಶಯದೊಂದಿಗೆ ಸಭೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆಸೀನರಿರುವ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಿರಿಯರಿಗೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಮುಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಇರುವ ಸಭ್ಯರಿಗೆ ವಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತಾ, ಇದು ನನ್ನ 2ನೇ ಬಾರಿಯ ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಈ ಕ್ಯಾಂಪಸ್ಗೆ. ಬಹುಶಃ ಇದೇ ಹಾಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊದಲ ಬಾರಿ ಕೂಡ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು. ಬಹುಶಃ ಈ ಬಾರಿ ಬೇರೆಯ ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಸಿದಂತೆ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಮತ್ತು ಎನ್ವಾರ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ವಾಟರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ ಕೀನೋಟ್ ಟಾಕ್ನಲ್ಲಿ, ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಇದರ ನಂತರ, ಈ ಸಭಾ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ನಂತರ ಮಾತಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು. ಆದರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ನೀವು ಏನನ್ನು ಲುಕ್ ಫಾರ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಈ ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್ನಿಂದ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು, ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಕೆಲವು ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಒಂದು ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಆದಾಗ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಇದು ಬೋರಿಂಗ್, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ತಂದು ಹಾಕಿಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಡು. ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ನಾವು ಇವತ್ತು ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಏನಿದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬಿಡಿ, ಅವರು ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರು ಸೈಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ ನನಗೂ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಒಂದನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಈ ದಿನ ಏನು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಎಲ್ಲನೂ ನಾನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೇನೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆಯನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟುಬಿಡಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ನೀವು ತುಂಬ ಇಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು ಮೂವಿ ಥಿಯೇಟ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಮೂವಿ ಬೋರ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರುವಾಗ ಇದೇನು ಸರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕ್ಲೈಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನೀವು ಏನು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಂತಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಅಥವಾ ಸಸ್ಟೈನಬಿಲಿಟಿ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್, 2 ಬಿಗ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಇವಾಗ, ನಾಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ, ಆಲ್ ಓವರ್ ದಿ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ನೀವು ಯಂಗ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಇದು ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅನಿವಾರ್ಯತೆ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ನೆಸೆಸಿಟಿ ನಾವು, ಆಯಿತಾ? ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಏನಾದರೂ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತೇನೆ, ನನಗೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಗಳಿದೆ. ಯೂಶ್ವಲಿ ಈ ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಮಿ ಮೋರ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್. ನಾನೊಂದು 50 ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ಸು, ಅವರೊಂದು 50 ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ಸು ಎಲ್ಲನೂ ಒಂದೇ ದಿನ ಡೈಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್, ಟೇಕ್ ಎ ನೋಟ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಟ್. ನಿಮಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಲೇಟರ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ನೀವು ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಈಗಂತೂ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್, ಒಂದು ಇಮೇಲ್ ಆರ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅದರ ನಂತರ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಬಾದರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿ ಹೋಗಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ರೀಚ್ ಆಗೋದು ಅಂತ. ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಗೈಡ್ ಯು, ಆಯಿತಾ? ಆ ಒಂದು ಗೈಡೆನ್ಸನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ತುಂಬ ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೂತ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ, ಆಗ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗೋದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಬಿ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ಡ್, ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ದಿ ಸೈನ್ಸ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಸೇ, ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ದಿ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಟೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಟೂ ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ಲಿ, ವೆದರ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಲೈಫ್, it is disaster. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging words. Now I cordially invite our guest of honor, Mr. Hemant Kumar sir, Head of Analytical Department, Syngene, BBRC, a Biocon company, Bengaluru, to address the gathering.
ಮುಂಜಾನೆಯ ಶುಭಾಶಯಗಳು. ಮೇಲೆ ನೆರೆದಿರುವ ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗಣ್ಯರಿಗೂ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. Today I am here just to encourage, because we are also students 2 decades ago, and I just want to tell you I am honored today this symposium, because I am not belongs to material science or nanoscience or what the energy conservation research field. There are many research fields happening across the world in science community, but this I like the symposium theme when I got a call and when I got the theme of the symposium, and I wanted to participate here because we know India is exploiting whatever the natural resources available in our land, but we need to focus how to conserve that energy or how to conserve that our natural resources for our next generation, because we need to save our nature for our next generation who also can live happy life like us, right? And it is possible only because of scientists. It's not that only where advanced technologies can help the nature. No, the basic science, the foundations of science can help to conserve our energies. That's what basic science can help the nature and save the world and around us, right? So not that only engineering graduates or technical graduates can do any changes. Even science graduate also can do. When I take in interviews, when we are looking for candidates, we see a lot of lack of basic information from the graduates. It is because lack of interest in the basic science. That's what I feel, and today I took this opportunity to come and share that basic science is really important. Don't think that only advanced technologies are going to help. The basic students, basic research is helping us. Okay, and another key word, key information I want to share to students is that, so we need to really come forward and evolve ourselves. How can we do that? There are eminent scientists in the field. Connect and collaborate, right? We can see a lot of Nobel laureates. They are connecting and they are working together to bring something to the scientific community across the globe, right? So connect and collaborate, evolve yourself, come, share, discuss. No one cannot take your knowledge, right? And I don't want to take more time here, and I'm not an expert in the field to talk too much. So I also want to learn something, because I am also a PhD student in the nanoconducting polymers, going to submit my thesis, and I'm going to get my PhD award soon. So I was very much connected, and I am one more thing I want to take an opportunity here. Being a student, I have a guru here, so who has taught me chemistry, and because of my guru, I am here today, and I want to thank you, sir. And when I got an invitation 2 weeks back, we were not ready, because I have a lot of formalities to take approvals from my parent company, everything. And later on, I realized, yes, I need to accept this invitation, because the vision, the concern what Professor Mallu was having towards the students, whoever is here, and what is his vision looking forward for students, how he wanted to develop the students and how he want to make them to build their career. That has made me to come and spend my time here today. And thank you, Professor Mallu, sir. And we are there, so whoever people like Dr. Karthik, Dr. Gotari Lingam, sir, they are there, who are helping to students. Same way, we need to connect and collaborate. That's the key, and hard work. Don't take anything negligence. So you have to put your effort, whatever, maximum, so that you will see that benefit in your future. So I am also a chemistry student, and I am able to make achieve something in my life, because we need to have that clarity and we need to put our effort. So don't think that your chemistry students will not be considered in anywhere in the scientific field or in the any advanced technologies, but you have a scope, you have a field to present your work and to develop yourself. And thank you one and all, and welcome you all, and spend a good time. As Dr. Karthik mentioned, utilize these opportunities, connect with people, and explore whatever newer opportunities possible. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing few words with the gathering. I now invite guest of honor Dr. Eruva Tirupataya sir, Scientist C, Central Sericultural Research and Training Institute, Mysuru, to share his views with the gathering.
Good morning to all. Myself, Dr. Tirupataya, scientist, from Central Sericultural Research Training Institute. First of all, respected sister, respected dean, respected principal, all communities, all faculty, and my dear students. I want to say about physics, chemistry, and biology. These are the God sciences. All secret of any sciences works with the combinations. First of all, the definition of life, you see that it is extraordinary complexity of chemical molecules. We define so many definitions to the life, but if we see in scientific angle, the complexity of chemical molecules and its function. And also, if you see the English letters alphabets, say 26, combination of each word it gives different words, combination of words gives meanings, even millions of books. Same things works for the our science also. Atoms you see, protons, neutrons, electrons, number of different combinations gives more than hundreds of atoms. What we know in Earth, but we don't know in universe how many atoms are there. The combinations we don't know. And similarly, if you see the nucleotides of four in life sciences, all DNA made without combinations of four nucleotides gives the millions of genes. Even you see the amino acids, nothing but chemical molecules. 20 amino acids gives rise to all kinds of proteins, millions of proteins. That's what we are made with those proteins. Same thing with chemistry also, there is no end. If we combine the 100 atoms, it gives endless of molecules. Those molecules will have different functions. We can do wonders. That's what chemistry is having a lot of scope and opportunities. So there is no end. Not only teaching, you can do whatever you want. In medicine, you see so many molecules. When Corona came, we could not find the proper molecule. Still, we can design. There is no answer. There is an answer. So many diseases. Even yesterday, we know Chandrayaan 3, they launched this one to channel the moon, and they want to find so many chemical molecules. We don't know. Those molecules may be different from Earth. They want to find. And pesticides, you see agriculture crops, even fertilizers, so many, even polymers, everything we see the matter, nothing but it is a combination of chemical molecules. So it is having a lot of scope. It is very great opportunity to study in chemistry. It is more than any kind of science in the earth. You can study not only earth, the universe, whatever the mass, matter we see, it is nothing but atoms. So we can see the different life forms in different planets. So it is so much lucky to study the chemistry, I want to say. Of course, I'm a microbiologist, but there is no biology without chemistry. This, I want to say thanks to all of you for inviting the JSS to this function. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing few words with the gathering. Now I request Professor Dr. S.A. Dhanraj sir, Registrar, Jesus Science and Technology University, Mysuru, to deliver presidential address to the gathering.
ಪುತ್ತೂರು ಗುರುಪರಂಪರೆಗೆ ವಿಸ್ತರಿಸಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಕಂಡಿದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನ ಹಿರಿಯ ಸಹೋದ್ಯೋಗಿಗಳೇ, ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಮಿತ್ರರೇ, let me congratulate the Department of Chemistry. Now the most important aspect is sustainable energy and environment. So everybody knows that you have to conserve the both energy and environment for the future use of our people. Yeah. There are many keynote speakers are here. Okay. Try to understand properly. Dinesh Shetty sir as speaking. Connect them. ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಸೇರಿಸಿರೋದೇ ಒಂದು ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನು ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಸೊ ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಯು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ದಿ ಸೈನ್ಸ್, ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ದಮ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್. Let us keep the energy and environment for the future use of our generation. Okay, future generation. Yeah, this day, yeah, this day is most important for us because we are sitting here for the one symposium, international symposium on sustainable energy and environment. The other one is going on in the MBA seminar hall. There is a tire care and road safety. So there are many people there also. So we attended there also, and came here. Sorry for the late coming. So let me congratulate the department once again. Let us understand the science. Yeah, you know, you are the students. You can understand little much. Whatever you can, the thing you can understand little, and you can interact the experts afterwards. With these few words, thanks. Thank you, Ananda. Ellago namaskara. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka.
Good morning, one and all. Sorry, I invited myself. Normally, the presidential remarks be very prudential. And let's not take. We need to cover all the, earlier speakers' impressions and I have presented. But since sake of saving time, and I used to tell always the organizers, give more time for the symposia or the conference or the workshop. And this will be end with only 15 minutes or 20 minutes. But still we are going beyond the time limits. I would like to restrict my presidential remarks also accordingly. At the outset, I commit my humble pronounce to the Lotus feet of His Holiness Swamiji and seeking his blessing on the day of International Symposium on emerging materials for sustainable energy and environment. Chief guest for this function, keynote speaker Dr. Nish Shetty, Mr. Hemant Kumar, and Mr. Kedula Sudhiya, and my beloved principal, and the organizing team headed by Prof. Mallu, uh, and the finance officers and officers of the registry, chancellery, and Mr. Dr. Shankar from Profession, and all my beloved learned professors, associate professors, and assistant professors. Last always, but never be the least, my dear students. So it is my great pleasure here to be a part of this particular inaugural function of this symposia. When I see the title, I was thinking where I can relate myself. People are going to talk about energy, people are going to talk about environment. I thought where I connect with me to that I took a word sustainable. So I'm not going to talk about the subject. I thought about, I share some UN policies about sustainable development in this world. You all know the United Nations. United Nations met several times from the year 1991, 2001, 2015, 16. Various places like Ghana, Johannesburg, France, and they started drafting a policy. The policy is to integrate three-dimensional important things. What are those three-dimensional? Indivisible, balance, and integration of these three-dimensional things. Those are these economic, social, and environment. They want to tie this, integrate this three-dimensional thing, so that only will help in the sustainable development of the world. So the sustainable development, they set a target at 2030 and they fix about 17 goals to achieve before 2030. 17 goals of sustainable development, which are shortly called as SDGs. And you all know, my dear students, these SDGs, you are all going to work on it. because 182 countries have signed in that, and all these SDGs are going to be taken as a policy in the national framework policy of any country. So every country has to adopt the strategies, came out with the NSDS, and these strategies we have to include in the nation's what you call the policy framework, and you have to monitor every year. So, as Mr. Dinesh Shetty said, you relax, okay? Don't get too much into what's talking about the SDG and all. So SDG is a parameter to monitor where the world goes in terms of economic, social, and environmental factors. Say, I will give one example about in the 17 SDG, starting from the no poverty, zero hunger, clean and sanitization, water, life under life under the sea, or life under the water, life on the land. There are many SDGs are there. There are two SDGs which are directly related to this particular symposium, and that is number one is the energy. Number one is the energy, which is the actually the seventh SDG, affordable and clean energy. Affordable and clean energy, which is the seventh SDG of it. What it really says, you have to monitor the affordability and cleanliness of the energy which are going to be used in the day-to-day life of the human being. For an example, what is the target? Ensure the whole universe population have an access for the energy. What I mean by that, how to ensure that there are indicators. That indicators means what? Proportion of population having the access to electricity. And you all know, still in this world, in this era, there are about 400 million population do not have access to electricity at all. And our target is in 2030, all the population of this world should achieve the accessibility to electricity. So we are going behind only. As of date, there are 400 million needed accessibility to the electricity. And the most pathetic thing is around 2.3 billion people needs clean fuel utilization. What do you mean by clean fuel? Even your cooking gas, yes, LPG is a clean fuel. That is also not available for about 2.3 billion people in this world. So this is what the seventh SDG will map. And another important SDG, which is interrelated with many other SDGs, but the main thing is number 13, Sustainable Development Goal, that is climate action, which is directly having an impact on your environment. What is the target? Strengthen resilience and adaptive capacity to climate hazards and natural disasters. How to monitor that? Indicator is there. Very simple indicator. Number of deaths, missing persons, directly affected by the disaster. Number of deaths and the missing persons. But actually, luckily, we are doing good in that. As on date, for every 1 lakh, 1.64, the figure has come down from 1.64 to 0.86. Means every 1 lakh people, only 1.64% is affected by this disaster. But the direct impact is very, very high. In the sense, say in 2030, we should not go beyond the rise in temperature of 1.5 degrees centigrade. But already we have touched 1.1 degree. So we have to manipulate only the 0.4 degree, which means we have to control the environment such that beyond 0.4 degrees centigrade, what we call the increase in temperature at 2030 should not. But the people say that we cannot attain that particular target with the available force. We have to run after it. So now I'll come to the topic and tie it to how to achieve this target. They say that you need to use an emerging advanced materials in all our areas. Say for example in energy, the materials such as fuel cells, supercapacitors, solar cells, hydroenergies, thermoelectrics all have to be implemented. And for environment, we see that other material, slates, bamboo, and what you call recycled plastics, everything has to be utilized to bring down the temperature, not to reach the temperature by 1.5 degrees centigrade. So what I am trying to say is your knowledge on the materials used in the sustainable development of energy and environment definitely depends upon the advanced materials what you are going to use there. In turn, you are going to, implement the policy of the United Nations, that is Sustainable Development Goal. Okay, so how I want to relate somehow the important UN policy with the advanced materials usage in these two areas. So with this few note, I once again congratulate and appreciate the organizers of arranging such things. And I also know the department chemistry and other in collaboration with other departments, they are coming out with the newer projects for the implementation of energy, environment, health through a ESG funded project. So once it get through, so all these, our strategies for the selection, manufacture, and usage of advanced materials may come through in a short future. So with this few notes, I once again wish all the delegates and also the students to have a wonderful symposium day today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your earnest presidential address. Last but not the least, the program is only ended with a formal note of thanks. To deliver the last leg of the program, I now request Dr. Nagashri S., Associate Professor, Department of Chemistry, Jesus Science and Technology University, to deliver vote of thanks.
Good morning, one and all. I offer my humble pranams to Sri Sukhuru Guru Parampara with the blessings of His Holiness Jagadguru Sri Shivratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji. A simple thank you is a very potent prayer. It's all there. I consider it an honor and privilege to have the chance to offer a vote of thanks on this auspicious occasion. First and foremost, I would like to thank our management, Jesus STU, for their kind support to organize the symposium MC 2020. I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Santosh Kumar sir, in his absence for his encouragement and support in making this event possible. I take this privilege to thank the President of this inaugural function, Professor Dr. S.A. Dhanraj sir, Registrar, Jesus STU, for his kind support and presidential address. Thank Dr. Jyoti Ram Lingam sir, Professor at King Saudi University in Saudi Arabia, being our chief guest today. So thank you very much. I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Dinesh Shetty sir, Professor, Khalifa University, Abu Dhabi, who is here with us today as a keynote speaker. Thank you, sir. I'm privileged to thank the guests of honors of this inaugural program, Dr. Yeruva Tirupataya sir, Scientist C, CSRBI, Mysuru, and Mr. Hemant Kumar sir, Head of Analytical Department, Syngin, BBRC, Biocon Bristol Myers Squibb Research and Development Center, a unit of Biocon Company, Bangalore, for sharing their views with us. I express my gratitude to Professor C. Nataraj sir, our beloved principal, for his support and direction. Thank you, sir. I also thank Dr. Shobhit Rangappa sir, Dr. P. Kangan sir, for their presence in this inaugural function. My sincere thanks to deans of the university, assistant registrars, finance officer, heads of all the departments who are present here, faculty and supporting staffs for their support and guidance to organize the symposium. Thank you all. All of you are expected to provide the same support throughout the symposium. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am, for the pleasant vote of thanks. Now, we will have a keynote talk by Dr. Dinesh Shetty, sir, Professor, Department of Chemistry, Khalifa University. The session will be chaired by Dr. Shobit Rangapal, sir, who will be introduced to you all by Dr. Nanjan Pomiyal, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, one and all. I would like to introduce the session chairperson, Dr. Shobit Rangappa. He is a director, Adi Chunchandgiri Institute for Molecular Medicine, Adi Chunchandgiri University, Bijinagara. Sir has completed his PhD in Life Science from Hokkaido University, Japan, integrated MS in Molecular Biology from Yuvraj's College, Mysore. Sir, area of research includes chemical biology, medicinal chemistry, anti-cancer studies, computational studies. Sir has published 87 research articles in reputed international journals with 2,500 citations. He has 7 international patents. Sir is the recipient of many national and international awards. Few of them are awarded with prestigious JASO Fellowship Award from Japan for continuing the research collaboration with Hokkaido University, awarded VGST KFIST project from Government of Karnataka, elected as an executive committee member for Indian Science Congress for the year 2023-24, and many more. Sir has guided 8 master degree students for their project work and currently is guiding 3 students for PhD degree. Apart from this, he is also a BOS member of various PG courses of University of Mysore and Adi Chunchandgiri University. It is our honor to have you here, sir. I heartily welcome the young and energetic director of AIMM to chair the session. Welcome you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. So, it gives me immense pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for today, Dr. Dinesh Shetty. So, just giving a brief glance of his biography. So, Dr. Dinesh Shetty is an assistant professor of chemistry in the College of Arts and Science, Khalifa University, since fall 2019. He holds PhD in chemistry from Seoul National University, South Korea. From 2011 to 2013, he was a postdoctoral fellow at Winship Cancer Institute, Emory University, USA, and later moved back to South Korea in the year 2013, where he was a research fellow in the group of Professors Kim-Moon Kim at the Center for Self-Assembly and Complexity, Institute for Basic Science, POSTECH. In 2016, he moved to New York University, Abu Dhabi, as a research scientist. He is a trained chemist with experience in multidisciplinary research areas, including material science, porous materials, renewable energy, water purification, supramolecular chemistry, and biomedical science. He is an author of 55 peer-reviewed journal papers, attended more than 30 conference papers, 20 invited talks, and 6 patents with an H-index of 28. So some of his achievements, he has received Young Investigator Award from the Korean Society of Nuclear Medicine and the Best Researcher Award from the Korean Cancer Research Foundation. He is the recipient of the U.S. National Academy of Science Arab American Frontiers Seed Grant. His author profile was recently introduced by Angewandte Chemistry International Edition, a flagship chemistry journal. He delivered research talks in multiple countries and is currently an active member of the Royal Society of Chemistry under the Future Leaders in the Field category. In his early career, he carved his presence at Khalifa University, where he received Research Excellence Award very recently in 2023. Congratulations, sir. So, some of his hobbies: in his free time, he writes poems and newspaper columns, articles, and also podcasts his thoughts. His research interest is focused on the development of multifunctional materials for various applications, including energy, water purification, and biomedical application. So, with this brief introduction, I would like to welcome Dr. Dinesh Shetty to address the gathering.
Good morning again. Different language. Um, Firstly, I would like to thank organizers for inviting me here. It's a pleasure because I'm coming home. I'm from Karnataka. Mysore is one of the fond cities for me. Also nice to meet friends. Um, with that, today I will be talking about a new class material. Forget about which class. The important thing here is the targeted application is related to energy and water, okay, especially. Both are very important research areas. When I say tunable, you can understand, right? Tunable means you can tune at molecular level, okay? So when I say porous, which means it's like, when you go to the kitchen, washing thing, porous, sponge kind of material. But when I say sponge, it's not about physical appearance. I'm talking about in a nano domain characterization where it has pores, nanopores, okay? So framework, when I refer, I think here everyone knows about polymers, right? So when I say polymers, there are two types. I'll talk about it. One is general polymers. They are disordered polymers, and another class is called framework. Framework means more ordered network, not like our traffic. It's like foreign traffic. Okay. So here it's a disordered setup. Okay. So I will talk about a couple of applications. What can we do with that? Okay. The first application I will be focusing is about water purification. So I don't think this introduction is necessary, honestly, because given the situation, what we are facing now regarding the water crisis, I think now you don't realize, but when summer comes, you do realize. So the problem here is, I think a lot of people think, our earth is surrounded by a lot of water, right? We think we have enough water, no need to worry about. But the biggest issue here is, out of that huge source of water, only about 2.5% of water is usable water, right? Everything else is seawater or in glaciers water. You cannot use that. Only 2.5%. Right? So out of 2.5%, again, only about 1% is fresh water. So 99% is ruled out. Right? So now you can think about it, how precious it is. Right? If you're not thinking now, definitely after this presentation you will. Okay? So, then again, within this fresh water, we humans are very kind, right? So we keep them very beautifully. Okay? So all water sources are beautifully maintained. So that's a good thing, because if we beautifully maintained, I couldn't make my career. So scientists like me, we come up to solve the problem, the mess we made of. Okay? The all pollutions, what we do, then somehow we are in a situation now where we have to use this polluted water either directly and get sick, or purify it and reuse it, right? So that's where we jump in. We try to purify and try to reuse. And I think someone may think, why do you want to use the polluted water? Maybe we can desalinate and directly use it, right? So that is also possibility. That is also possibility, and people are really, using that method, especially in Gulf world. We are using 33% of the water is coming from desalinated water. But what reuse is more important. Why? Because it is less energy intensive, and it's already given water, right? We polluted it and we can reuse it. Okay. So, as a material scientist or a chemist, what can we do to solve this problem? That's what you will come to know at the end of this talk. Again, this picture, just to tell you, if you are not aware of the reality, if you are still dreaming and sleeping with WhatsApp in your city, not looking into real reality. Why I said WhatsApp in your city? Because we start to believe everything what WhatsApp forward comes. Not go beyond that. That's very scary. It's a big topic. So, but I think you have to go a little deeper beyond that and try to understand. Can you see that red color? India is completely red hot. Can you see that? So I'm focusing about India now because I'm in India. This slide is very useful because wherever I go I can use it. Just change the region, right? So in India, red means extremely stressful, which means we are in real danger. I'm not joking about it. Okay? Especially your generation or your children's generation, trust me, water will be more precious than anything else. Okay? If the situation continues to be. If you think sea has a lot of water, we can desalinate, it has a lot of other problems, we'll talk about it. Okay? We cannot sustain that. Even countries, Gulf countries, they are heavily relying on this, they start to realize it and they are having plan B now. Because you cannot. Because when you desalinate, you have a hell lot of brine. Highly concentrated saline, you have to put it back to the ecosystem. And you are completely imbalancing the ecosystem. You cannot sustain that. Okay? That's why we have to have a kind of ideal, sustainable solution for this kind of problem. Okay? The slide says, what is the message here? We are in danger. Okay? Nothing else. So now I think you are students, I'm sure. Do you have the habit of reading newspaper? I really don't. But anyhow, if you have, thank you. So if you have the habit of reading newspaper, I think these are all the news every time, at least once in a week or sometime in every day. If you change into different newspapers, you can see. But the problem here is we just read headings, and most of the time we don't go in details, for sure. Okay? We are more interested in which Bollywood actor had a marriage or we are not worried about these kind of things. That's very unfortunate. We are laughing, but trust me, we are laughing ourselves. Okay? As a student, I'm here in science or scientific talk. I'm very serious about it. I'm not joking about it. Thankfully, you are smiling about it. But the serious thing is you have to give a deeper interest or focus about these kind of serious matters. That's where science can play a crucial role, or research can play a crucial role. Okay? Just to tell you, this is again a problem. Okay? India is not prepared for water crisis. The issue with this kind of news is we all of a sudden wake up during summer. Again we go back to the sleep during rainy season. Again we come up and refresh with a different title and we come up with the same problem. Okay? So the thing what we have to do, in between we stop sleeping and think about solving the issue. Okay? That's what we have to do. I'm not saying I'm here to solve everything. Please try to understand that. You should not think a guy is coming from somewhere and telling, oh, we are solving it. No. But everyone, each and everyone can play their part. In a little way, definitely you can play their part, you will come to know. Okay? Then, beautiful Karnataka. The area, it's about a few years ago, it's pretty much similar situation now. The area, yellow region is drought hit area. Can you see almost whole state? Okay? Now, even countryside, village, my own village, we are relying on municipality for water. Okay? So natural resources are completely going down. Groundwater level is almost not reachable now. Okay? So that's where water reuse comes. That's where this kind of advanced materials come into play. Okay? The materials, today I will be talking about porous materials. If you think about our older generation, your grandfather or grandmother, you know, they have this kind of art, how to use this kind of material. They didn't know it's porous material, but they know how to use them. Okay? Do you know people used to use sand for the filtration? They never had PhD or porous material degree, okay? But this is nothing but similar principle. But obviously, science is not good enough for these modern day pollutants that we will talk about. That's where advanced material come into play. But principle is same. Okay? Do you know in our place they used to use some stem of tree or leaves, put it in water and it soaks all the toxins and then we used to drink. Okay? So it's very common practice. What's happening there? These kind of materials are porous in nature. They have enough space to take these toxins or pollutants within themselves, and then your water is free from these pollutants. Okay? So in this case, if you go a little deeper as a chemist or as a material scientist, as I mentioned before, nature itself is beautiful. Everything is creative. If you think about wings of butterfly, or eggshell, or even honeycomb, anything, it's created. Okay? What we do, we try to mimic them. Okay? So when I say porous material, there are two types. One is disordered, or we call them amorphous. What does it mean? Pores are there, but different pore size. It's not in ordered manner. Okay? The another type is called ordered pores. We call them as crystalline polymers or framework polymers. Okay? What is the benefit of this ordered pores? I will tell you, because you have more control. Okay? So when I say ordered polymers or ordered materials, there are different classes. Okay, long time ago, carbon, right? The basic carbon is the very beautiful and simple amorphous porous material. Okay, even now most of the water purification columns, they use one of the columns as activated carbon. Okay, it's a very powerful one. Okay, but it has its own limitation. As I said, this is the amorphous polymer. Okay, you have very little control for functionalization or improving their performance. Okay, Then comes in 1756 one type of material, zeolites. I'm not going deep into it. If you are interested, just you can sneak in. And then in 1996, Omaryagi's group, Professor Omaryagi's group, they introduced material called metal organic framework. As name suggests, it has metal, it has organic part, and framework means it's an ordered material, ordered structure. And then later, the same group started to introduce materials called covalent organic frameworks. The difference here, when I say metal and organic, what is the bond? Coordination bond or DQ bond, right? But when I say covalent bond, it's a more stronger bond. The problem with MOF, most of the MOFs are not stable in water situation. I mean, within water environment, they are not stable because coordination bond can easily get hydrolyzed, right? So covalent bonds are more stable. That's why these class of materials are quite useful. Ordered material, you can make the tunability and you can use them for water purification. Okay, that's where our group is jumping in. Okay, why? Why covalent organic frameworks are so interesting? Think about it. You have a very stable organic network. I will talk about how can we build different types of covalent organic frameworks. It's just like a kid's puzzle. Okay? You have building blocks, A, you have a linker or another building block, B. Depending on A plus B combination, you end up getting a different featured material. What can you control? You can control pore diameter, you can control pore shape, you can control surface functionalization, okay? You can control channels, you can control, when I say material, they're stacking together and there is a channel, you can control those channels, you can introduce different types of functionalization within the channels. There are so many things you can do, right? That's why these materials are very, very interesting. As I said, very simple. Mostly people are relying on 2D materials. When I say two-dimensional, I'm talking about X and Y coordinates, right? So I will, after some time, I will talk about 3D. I'm talking about X, Y, Z, okay? Z coordinates. But in this case, most of the materials are 2D in nature because if you want ordered material, one of the important things, the building block has to be rigid. If it is too flexible, you end up getting amorphous polymer. You cannot get in framework material. Okay? So basically rigid building block and linkers, you end up getting different combinations, right? It's of your interest. In our case, what we did, think about a situation. We have A plus B, we combine them, we end up getting the framework material. There will be a network pores, right? What we call it, pores. What we thought, how about using a building block itself having the nanopores? Then what will happen? Pores within pores. In the same material, you have two types of pores you can control. It's very important. I will talk about it. Selectivity. When it comes to selectivity, selective removal, this is very important. Okay? That's where we jumped in. We started to use material called calixarenes. It's a very old molecule. Okay? It's not new molecule. But we try to introduce them into the framework materials. Why? The beauty of this material, you have upper rim, lower rim, and the cavity. Cavity has the inherited pore size, right? Pores, right? And upper rim, you can use it for the polymerization. Lower rim, you can use it for the further functionalization. We call it as post-synthetic modification, right? And these pores can be tunable. You can take a size from 0.8 nanometer to 1.6 nanometer. Okay? The inherited pores I'm talking about, not network pores, right? The problem with this molecule is a kind of dancing molecule. It has conformational flexibility. So this is contrast, right? You want a framework material, but you have flexibility. So that's where challenge comes as a material scientist. How to tie them to make an ordered structure. Okay? We tried a lot. We tried a lot. As a result, we never end up getting framework material, but still we end up getting a polymer material with the two types of pores, and we use them for different applications, environment-related applications, and we published. I'm not talking about it. We worked a lot, and we started company with the same material as well. Then now, as a chemist and a material scientist, you have to understand, sometimes small change in synthetic condition, you don't need to think about Nobel laureate idea, right? Just small change in synthetic condition can lead to something really useful. Okay. In this case, what happened? We took this aldehyde, okay, C4 aldehyde, right, and we took a very small linear linker, and we put up in different synthetic conditions. Obviously, when polymer comes, most of the people relying on solution chemistry. What we did, instead of solution chemistry, we tried interfacial synthesis. What does it mean? You have, when I say interfacial, you have a liquid-air interfacial or liquid-liquid interfacial in between. If you use two immiscible solvents, you can create that interface between these two layers. So that's what we did. But also, just for our curiosity, we did with the infinite dilution. Here I am talking about soluthermal synthesis. Right? Are you following me, or it is too much technical? Okay, if it is too much technical, let me know. I'm trying to simplify as much as I can, but if it is too much technical, please raise the hand. Don't worry about it. I will not grade you. Okay? So, now what happened, the beauty of science is, when you do the interfacial science, and when you do the soluthermal synthesis, you end up with different materials in nanodomain. Okay? So what happens? Let's see. Look at this. In one case, these polymeric chain molecules intercalated themselves. It's a catenated structure. Okay, when you tie something, it's an intercalated structure. When we did the interfacial synthesis. In other case, what happened? These layers are coming A fashion or AB fashion. They stack themselves. So what is the difference here? As a molecular scientist, you think about it. When you have an intercalated structure, you have totally different the pore space, and when you have a stacked surface, you have a totally different surface. Okay, and these stacks can be slidable. It's like a graphene, right? Okay, so we end up again go back, same building block, same linker, end up two different materials with different properties, right? Okay, it's like same batter, either idli or dosa, but taste is different. Okay, so if you can play, please. Just to show you how molecules come together and beautifully tie themselves off. Okay? Okay, just you can see. This is exactly what happens when we try reaction in interfacial synthesis. Okay. What happens? These branched things come together, and there will be hydrophobic interaction between these branches. They sit beautifully like capsules, and once capsule is formed, then there will be elongation by polymerization. Okay? And then you end up getting a beautifully intercalated structure. What is the speciality in this? As a molecular scientist, this is the first report 3D building block, inherited 3D building block, stacked in a 2D manner, that too in intercalated manner. Okay, that's how we end up publishing in JACS. Okay, I don't know whether you are familiar. Getting into JACS is not an easy task. So, the molecular level understanding and a simple change in synthetic methodology, what is the message here? Forget about calixarine, forget about intercalation, forget about every beautiful thing. The message here is, please have that curiosity, if you are a researcher, to tune a little bit here and there. Don't think it is waste. What will happen? No, there are a lot of things can happen. Okay? Science is all about curiosity, nothing else. Okay? Right. Move on. So, okay, everything beautiful. We have beautiful material, so what? Usually when you go to the funding agency, if you say, I have beautiful material and JACS, they say, thank you. Put it in your office, right? So what can we do with it? The application is the most important thing. It's not just about science. Yes, fundamental science is very, very important, but it has to play something in applied science, okay? So what can we do with this? We thought maybe let's start with a simple application. The dye, beautiful colors. The dress, what you are wearing, textile, dyes and everything. Where are we throwing it? To the water source, right? It's the picture just to show you from all over the world. I didn't put India intentionally. Okay? But we are doing same thing. Okay? So, what I thought, these are all toxic dyes, right? If you think about it, if you can remove these toxic dyes from water, then it's quite useful, okay, to purify water. Okay, what we did here, we took some, when I say dyes, there are cationic, anionic, I'm not going into too many details, but negatively charged, positively charged, no charge, these kind of different, it's a complex set of molecules, right? So what we thought, if we can remove, usually when dye removal, I think it's a very simple application, but a lot of people, what we do, we remove dye and throw it. But our idea here is, imagine if you remove dyes selectively, only cationic dyes or anionic dyes, then remove them from the material and reuse it. It's economically, we call it as a circular economy. Okay? We can use the dyes back to the system. That you can do only if you do selective removal. If you do every dye together, you cannot do anything about it. So that's what the principle behind this. If you see the result here, anionic dyes, almost nothing. Cationic dyes, within 1 minute, boom, removal, right? So, surprisingly, selective cationic dye removal happened in this case. Why it happened? Because of the tide pores is well fit into this cationic dyes, not for anionic dyes. Okay, this is molecular engineering, if you call it. Okay, that's what we did. Then the question would come, in real practical application, the polluted source will not have only cationic dyes, right? It will have anionic, it will have neutral, everything mixture. So the thing we have to prove, if it is a mixture, what can we do? So that's what we did. So if you can see cationic anionic dye mixture, still only cationic dyes were removed, anionic dyes is untouchable. Okay? So basically we can use it for selective dye removal. So we published it as a JACS cover article 2 years ago. Now let's move on. So far, I was talking about this molecule, right? Calixarene. So now what I thought, instead of this methylene bridge, at the end of this talk, one thing you have to observe, how small molecular engineering can help you achieve something. Okay, that is the message. Okay? So here, instead of this methylene bridge, if you use this NH bridge, what will happen? We are introducing more hydrophobicity, and if needed, we can make this NH into NH plus, right? Cationic charge we can introduce into the framework structure. So then we took this building block instead of previous building blocks with tetra formyl group. Okay? Then we did same thing, I'm not going into detail. The story is very simple. We took it, we introduced different chemistry, and we end up getting framework structure. When I say this, it is just less than 10 seconds, but to get the framework structure, it took a lot of time. Okay? It's a trial and error case. So in this case, we end up getting 2D materials. Okay? This is beautiful application. I'm sure after listening to this, you will be surprised. One of the application what we utilize, now we are working on a hospital to commercialize this. Okay? Do you know kidney failure? You know, kidney problem, renal dialysis. You heard about it. We always talk about renal dialysis. Do you know how much water do you waste there? Until I did this research, I didn't know the statistics. Okay? So look at this statistic just for your reference. Okay? And every dialysis session takes 4 hours and requires 500 milliliter per minute flow rate. Okay? This is a high quality water. Dialysis, this is high, 99.99 purity water. Okay? Then each dialysis session produces 120 liter per session. Okay? Think about how many dialysis centers are going on in India, for example, or in the world. Okay? So, but the question would come, when you do the dialysis, if you think about it, you are taking a highly pure water, you end up getting what? Uric acid, creatinine, urea, sodium chloride. Very simple, biologically, the safe pollutant, I would call it, right? So we have only that. Imagine if you remove that. Of course, we cannot reuse it for dialysis because you need very high quality water, but at least you can use this water for, say, toilet or agriculture or these kind of things easily, right? So this is the application we tried, okay? We tried to remove these pollutants, uric acid and creatinine. There is another benefit here. Uric acid itself is a very good commercial product. If you can selectively isolate uric acid, you can put it into industry, okay? That is another thing. 2 shots, okay? One is purifying water and getting something useful. Again, circular economy, okay? Don't think I'm talking only about money, but that is very important. Okay? So, and creatinine. We use this, and if you can see this result, forget about everything, just focus on this. You can see about 80% of uric acid selectively removed, and relative selectivity, I wouldn't call it 100% selectivity, because about 20% of creatinine also removed. But the goal is here is not to make uric acid selective, but to remove this from the water. Okay? But this is the normal water condition. That's very easy. The problem comes when you have a high salinity. Sodium chloride, our urea or the polluted water. That's what we tested. What will happen? Usually the dialysis water contains about 150 millimolar sodium chloride concentration. We try to mimic that, and even in this case, we could able to reproduce same result. So now we are collaborating with one hospital to try the real dialysis waste and use our material to purify this. Again, unknown sources, but you can contribute as a material scientist or chemist to do something better, okay? And then we publish this one. Okay, I still have time. Sorry, you have to bear with this. So now, then we moved on. The next one is about emerging pollutants. Have you heard about this word? I'm sure you did. What is emerging pollutant? Maybe you heard about emerging science, emerging materials. Have you ever heard about emerging pollutants? No? Good. Today you are hearing. So, emerging pollutants are pollutants our day-to-day use. For example, pharmaceutical waste. For example, you are taking a diabetic tablet or blood pressure tablet or paracetamol, for example. Do you think it will stay in your body forever? Where it will go? You urinate, it will go to the water source only somewhere. Right? So some of these pharmaceuticals can be kinetically broken within the body. But even those broken products can be toxic. Right? And some of them will never break. It comes as it is. For example, paracetamol, it comes as it is in most of the time. Not everything. Some part is kinetically broken, but some part comes as it is. But the message here is that is one of the example emerging pollutants. Have you ever heard about antibiotic resistance? I'm sure you did. Why antibiotic resistance is happening? Because we are taking a lot of antibiotics, going into the water source. Every day when you are drinking water, even without having any bacterial infection, you are taking antibiotics inside the body. So your body is so resistant to that. Now antibiotic resistance is a very, very big issue in pharmaceutical industry. Huge issue, not big issue. Huge issue. So these are all emerging pollutants. What about plastic? Have you heard recently there is something called nanoplastics? Even it is reaching brain. It is crossing blood-brain barrier, one of the toughest barrier to cross. Okay? It goes to the nano size and it gets into the blood-brain barrier and it's going into that stage. Hopefully, who knows, after some time we will have half plastic, half kind of brain. Jokes apart, I mean, this is not joke, I'm talking about plastic use is so much. We are getting into this. Forget about bisphenol A. Have you heard about bisphenol A? If you go and buy plastic bottles and everything, they put BPA free. As a chemist, have you ever thought of what is BPA? Who cares? This is not part of my credits. Huh? Ever thought about it? What chemists can do or material scientists can do? They say BPA free. Are you sure it is BPA? They are giving you bottles for 5 rupees and they say BPA free. Do you think it is true? Absolutely no. Okay? So the point what I'm trying to tell you is these are all the emerging pollutants. What about makeup? Don't get offended. 99% of makeup contains very toxic palladium and lead. Okay? Lead is very common ingredient of. Don't stop using makeup. What I'm trying to tell you here is when you, I think after makeup you will wash your face, right? Sooner or later. So where it will go? To the water source. These are all the emerging pollutants. The problem with these pollutants are they are not in a big scale or large scale like dyes I showed you or some other pollutants. They are very small quantity. We call them as micropollutants because their range is microgram to nanogram per liter. Okay? But that's where problem comes. You think, oh, acha, very small quantity, easy to remove. No. If anybody is in physical chemistry studying, removing small quantity is more difficult than removing large quantity. Okay? It's opposite to thermodynamics. Okay? So these pollutants can sneak through our all water purification plant system existing all around the world. So that's why we need third step. After water purification plant, we need another material to purify these kind of pollutants, because the existing water purification plants are not achieve that. They cannot achieve that. Okay? So that's where we are trying to jump in, and there are different methods. Okay? There are physical, chemical, and biological methods, but we are trying to do biological method. The reason is because biological enzymes, growing enzymes, extracting enzymes are economically viable. Okay? And also scalability. You can produce it in large quantity. Okay? And then you have a low input energy, which means it's not energy intensive process. Okay? And you are not using too many chemicals there. There's another thing. The problem is, for solving one thing, we are making another problem. Okay? We are producing a lot of pollutants or something. It's the issue, right? So we are not doing that. So what we are using here is called peroxidases. They are very good oxidizing agents. Okay? What they do, they can degrade pollutants. Okay? When they are in small concentration. Okay? So, but the problem with these enzymes, they are biomolecules. What is the issue with biomolecules? One of the common issues, if you want to scale up and use it. What will happen if you keep milk outside for 2 days? Stability is the issue. Right? Any biomolecule, stability is the issue. So, what can we do? We have a porous material. Let's put these unstable enzymes inside the pores and protect them. Okay? So that's what we are doing. Let's increase the stability, then we can use this material for purification. Okay? That's what we are doing now. What we did, we used some ordered material. Ordered materials are useful in this case. Why? Because you know where exactly enzyme goes, what kind of interaction happens between these enzymes and these materials. You can study in more details. If it is amorphous material, it's very difficult. You are shooting in the dark. Okay? So you cannot understand, but as a fundamental scientist, so you need to understand what exactly happening, right? So that's why we're using this material. Then what we did all the characterization. I'm not going into detail because it's not so important for this meeting. For publication, it is important too. Okay, so then, but I have to talk about this one particular thing. As you can see, when we immobilize enzymes within the porous network, the stability is really increased. Okay, that's very important. Stability increased means I'm not talking about you can boil it, but at least it is increased from 40 degree to 70 degree. That's a huge change if you think about practicability. Okay, so that's what we did, and then we took a range of molecules, the emerging pollutants, starting from paracetamol to everything. Okay, the good part you have to see here. Can you see this part? 99.9, 100, 99.9, almost 100% the pollution removal. In this case, not removal, they are breaking it. Okay, decomposition of the pollutant. But the next question would come: if they break it, if the broken products are toxic, then we cannot do anything. That is also very important, and we analyze them whether these broken products are toxic or not. Okay, in our case, mostly it is not. That's why this is another thing we are working on to scale it up. Okay, this is the story. So now my last. I still have some minutes. Yeah. So in this case, I'm moving from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional. The only difference here, when I say 2-dimensional, we are talking about x and y, and 3-dimensional, I'm talking about x, y, and z. Okay, 3-coordinate system I'm talking about. What is the usefulness here? The problem what happens when we have a framework materials or 2D materials, when you're using as a membrane for a water purification, usually pictorial representation shows beautiful alignment and there is a beautiful 1D channel. But in reality, it will not happen like that. It's a random stacking, and they are eclipsing or completely blocking these channels. That's why 2D materials, especially these framework materials, are not so useful, and they have other kind of problems later, fouling and these kind of problems in water purification plants. So what we thought, how about expanding from 2D to 3D? But the problem with 3D is getting 3D framework material, crystalline material, is even more challenging than 2D material. That's why I think field is not evolving, evolved yet. So it's slowly evolving now, especially in China, because they have like 100 people in lab, they can explore everything. So they are exploring it, and we try to do a little bit about it. Okay, so we moved on. When new guy joined my group, I asked 2 things, right? Genuinely, I usually ask very simple things. Okay, so I asked him, can we build a macro structure? Because we always talk about nanostructure. Can we build a macrostructure? When I say macrostructure, I'm talking about membrane, for example, because for real practical application we need it. Okay? Of 3D car, three-dimensional covalent organic framework. The next question is, can we tune this? Because I think if I go back and change building blocks, making another 3D is very difficult. So can we tune the physiochemical property of this membrane within same building block? Okay? Again, our chemistry knowledge, beautiful, simple chemistry knowledge help us. In this case, what we did, we used same building blocks. We used two different interfacial synthetic. The only small difference what we did, in one case water ethyl acetate, another case water chloroform. What is the difference here? The polarity difference. Nothing else. Okay? But for your surprise, can you see in one case water ethyl acetate system, we end up getting 3D highly hydrophobic membrane. Can you see the water? This is like, lotus leaf, right? In other case, I'm talking about same building blocks, guys. Okay? And in other case, it's highly hydrophilic system. So basically what we are doing, break it to make it, I call it. We are introducing more defect within the framework structure to introduce hydrophilicity or hydrophobicity. Okay? So in case of ethyl acetate system, we have more defects and more bromine atoms are exposed. Usually bromines are inducing hydrophobicity, and that's why this is more hydrophobic membrane. And in other case, less defects, bromines are hiding inside, it's not exposed to water, they are more hydrophilic system. Okay? What can we do with this? Demulsification, it's one of the major applications in our, especially in Gulf world, because when you are digging oil, okay, at one stage, in most of the stages, you end up getting water within oil. Right? So the removing oil or separating them is very, very important application. Okay? So we tried using this because this membrane, if you just pass through, if it has very good flux, if it can separate water from oil, it's a very beautiful application. So that's what we did, and we end up getting very good result, and also we could able to use it for multiple cycles, and now we are scaling it up with the help of industry, the oil company in Abu Dhabi. So, and also for academic interest, we could able to publish it in a given last year. Okay, then we moved on. We tried to use this 3D MOF because one of the problems with this 3D membrane stability issue, mechanical stability I'm talking about. When you scale it up for a large scale, large dimension, mechanical stability is the issue. So what we did, instead of making them, let's make friendship with someone else, and whether we can explore this material's property for removing something. What we did, we took a very cheap material, cellulose acetate. It's a simple polymeric material, very cheap, economical, and we use these 3D cups as a pillars. Only less than 1% of the 3D cups are used or mixed within these membranes, and we used it to remove phenol. Okay, again, in the interest of time, I'm not going into detail, just to show you when we add just less than 1% of this 3D COF as pillars within this cellulose acetate membrane, the removal performance of phenol is another toxic organic molecule. Okay? So this is carcinogenic as well. When I say carcinogenic means it can cause cancer, right? So this is very important toxic molecule to consider. So we use it, and also we studied all, how pH, and because when you are using these polluted water, different sources will have different pH and these conditions. We have to see. If you want a practical solution, you have to your material has to work in extreme conditions. Okay? So that's what we did in all conditions. If you are interested, please go through this recent publication, and you end up getting knowing what we did. Basically, what we did, we used them as the pillars, and we removed phenol from water. So, when my time ends? I started 47. Okay, good to go. I'm bargaining well, huh? Okay. So now, switch on, okay? Just forget about water. Now, because my title says energy and water, right? I have to talk a little bit about energy. But in this case, I will not talk about energy as it is like battery or something like that. This is again closely related to environment. Someone talking about, I think, the registrar, when he was giving a talk, he talked about global warming and, Paris Agreement and everything, right? So one of the issue, CO2, carbon dioxide. Maybe I think we have a lot of carbon dioxide. I can see I'm sweating. So because when we breathe out, and because of a lot of other sources, our carbon dioxide in our environment is keep on increasing, right? This is carbon dioxide observatory. As you can see, from 2010 to 2022, it's keep on increasing. I'm sure it will keep on increasing for some more years until otherwise we find a solution to stop it somewhere. Okay, at least the idea is to bring them into plateau, not keep on going in a linear way, right? It's very difficult task. But the material scientist, as a material scientist, my thinking is, okay, there are people, they are working on stopping this carbon dioxide level. But as a material scientist, what we can do, carbon dioxide is a very cheap material, right? Freely available, no need to pay. So how about converting this carbon dioxide into something useful? Right? That's where we are jumping in. Not only me, there are a lot of people. Before me, there are a lot of people jumping, right? So here, the message is, what we are trying to do, we are not trying to stop carbon dioxide. We are trying to convert this carbon dioxide into useful small molecule or industrial product. And then we are solving two issues. One is, of course, we are making benefit out of it. Another thing, we are also reducing carbon dioxide within the environment. Right? Okay? Okay, so basically, when I say this kind of conversion means from CO2 to something else, there are different types. There are electrocatalytic conversion, there are photocatalytic conversion, there are biocatalytic conversion, there are many different types. Why are we interested in photocatalytic? Another cheap source, photo. Light, right? So it's easily available. Okay. Only thing I need to worry about, CO2 is free, light is free. Only thing I need to worry is I need a material which can efficiently convert this carbon dioxide into something else. Right? So we need photocatalytic material. But of course there are cheap things, but you have to bring them together, right? So when I say material, it has three jobs together. One is it has to convert. It's an electronic reaction, right? And also before converting, it has to take energy from the light, which means it has to absorb the light, right? That is first thing. And second thing, as soon as it absorbs, electrons start to dance, right? So the recombination has to be controlled, otherwise they will be coming back and slip again. They will not convert. My job is not done. You know, that's why the molecular engineering or material engineering comes into play. Okay? What we did, we try to use these COPs. Again, I go back. Why COPs? Because you have a lot of control. You can control conjugation. You can control the absorption capacity of the material. Okay, you can introduce catalytic site within the framework. You know exactly what is happening. You can go even up to single atomic level. Okay, so that's why we try using this one. One such example, we took one acceptor and donor. I don't know whether donor means somebody is giving. I'm sure you know, giving electron. Acceptor is someone is taking electron. Because of this cash in and cash go kind of transaction, there will be electron movement that is responsible for a lot of things. Okay, you know, photosynthesis, right? Photosynthesis principle is similar. Okay, so we synthesized this framework material. Of course, we did all the characterization, but the more interesting thing what we did, we converted CO2 into a single product. It's called formate. Formate is very, very useful industrial reagent. Okay? So in this case, the good part is when I say CO2 conversion, you can end up with different products. You can end up with carbon monoxide, CO2 to CO. You can end up with formate. You can end up with methane. You can end up with even further alkanes. Okay? But in this case, we stopped it in formate and it's a selective product, only one product. As you can see, our material can give about 11 micromole concentrated formate, but when you have no light, nothing happens, which means it's a photocatalytically driven CO2 conversion. Okay? So then we did the recycling test and mechanistic understanding everything, but I'm not going there. But important here is isotope labeling. Why isotope labeling is required? As I mentioned, CO2 can go to other forms, but we have to confirm whether the CO2 gas I used converted or something else came there. So it's very important to tag. You know, it's like if you have a cow in your house, you put some label here, right? So before sending it outside, just to make sure it's my cow, right? So the same way, what we are doing is the labeling and try to understand. Format is forming is having that labeled carbon. Okay, so that's how we do that. Then we obviously people ask why do you need cough and blah blah blah. So then we try to show if you use monomer itself, what will happen, and if our system, because it's a combination, synergic effect, because you have a porous structure and you have a conjugated structure, it increases the photoabsorption. Porous structure will help CO2 come and sit there, because before catalytic reaction you need some time. Okay, so if it is an open structure or monomer, this kind of luxury is not there. Okay, that's why it's a synergic effect. We end up getting more efficient system. Okay? Again, the another system what we developed here is, instead of, in previous case we used cobalt as catalytic center. In this case we use gold nanoparticles as catalytic center. But the purpose is same, to develop a material which can convert CO2. In this case what happens, CO2 is converted into carbon monoxide. This is another very important industrial gas product, carbon monoxide. But it's very toxic gas. Do you know how much carbon monoxide is good enough to say goodbye? Huh? ppm level is good enough. Part per million level is good enough. Okay, so we have to be careful when we do this kind of experiment. But anyhow, you will have a closed system, shielded system for that. In this case, we end up getting carbon monoxide as the major product and very small side product as methane. Methane also very useful. Where do you use methane? I know gas, but where do you use? Forget about gobar. Don't go outside. Within inside your home. You should know, girls. Kitchen, your gas stove coming. Everything is methane. Okay. So methane also very useful gas. Okay. Okay. Just to end the story, we have two systems doing same job, but different types of material. Okay. Okay. Oh, so just to it's a little bit of advertisement of myself. So what I'm trying to say, this is for a younger audience. I'm sure these people are already achievers, but I think younger audience, you try to understand this. I was an organic chemist, trained organic chemist. I was working as a research scientist in Biocon 2005, and soon after realizing this is not my cup of tea, after 1 year I moved abroad for PhD. I did my PhD in cancer imaging. Nothing to do with water, nothing to do with energy. Okay, my two of the imaging materials in clinical trials now, in multi-center trial, 19 countries. Okay, people recognize me for that research more than this research. Okay, but the point here is, very important thing here is, when I started this research, it was crude, it was new. I had so many reasons and excuses to escape. When I moved to UAE, because in UAE, if I go and talk about cancer research, hardly you find any money. No? When you go, that is, when you are in Rome, be Roman, right? Of course, I didn't become Arabic person, but I start to realize in that country, water and energy, two very important areas, right? Why I am saying this story? Because just to inspire you, I really don't need any advertisement here. But what I'm trying to tell you, within 3 years, my research was listed as one of the innovations in Dubai 2020 Expo. Just to let you know, it was selected out of 180 countries' innovations. Okay? So what I'm trying to say, if you have passion, if you have intention, if you have hard work, okay, definitely every field is our field. See, the core is, when I was working for cancer or water, core is of my chemistry. Core is my material science. Okay? The only thing I need to understand is the application side, right? So just to tell you, only the expo finished? Yeah, just 2 minutes. Okay? Because I have to thank people. I should not forget about that. Last before one. Okay, I think if you are interested, I think they made a huge news about it. It is in YouTube. I think it has 500,000 hit so far. YouTube video about my innovation. Actually, I wanted to show it. It's a 3 minutes video. I don't know whether it works or not. If it works, it's definitely inspiring to students. Can you play? Is it possible? Yes, please. I have 3 minutes, right? If not, also I have no choice. I'm just showing. Yeah. No sound? Increase the volume. But anyhow, that's okay. Leave it, no problem. So if someone is interested, of course, if you can give my name, it will come in YouTube. So the story is about a small town boy uh, who studied his entire education without electricity, uh, is going to somewhere and trying to achieve something. So if it is not inspiring you, I don't think anything will inspire you. Okay? So I'm not saying just because I'm there, because I know the small town kids, how, I mean, when maybe 15, 20 years ago when I was like that, if some people coming from international thing, I'm just looking at how this is happening or something, you have that curiosity or something. So I think what I did is nothing. You have a big way, and because you have a lot of opportunity nowadays, and because of India is the cheapest internet providers. So you have internet, you have a lot of knowledge sources. It's not like our time when I was studying, no internet. Okay, I sound very old, but yeah, I'm not. But yeah, but you have a lot of source to learn. Okay, so try to utilize them and make a difference. That's what I want. At least one or two people come up one day and say, that day you told us something and we made the difference. Now all of a sudden I felt like I'm ghost. Go back. I'll start.
So that part of India where I grew up, it used to be a big waterfront from nature and beauty, but not anymore. The village.
It was my old house. Dream, everything started there.
I think a couple of years ago, I, being a material scientist, I asked myself, can I do something? My name is Dr. Dinesh Shetty. Currently, I'm working at Philippi University. We are mainly focusing on water-related research. Emerging pollutants, emerging pollutants, because for water pipes, they are very low concentration. The plastic ingredients, right? The pesticides, very little. They have to be solid process. And concentration is microgram, nanogram, which means it's a challenge in chemistry. Non-water is getting once it's polluted. Then we have just started. If you think about developing a material which can remove the pollutant, toxin from this water, and then we can reuse, if not for drinking, at least you can use it for agriculture or day-to-day use, then we are saving a lot of water. The intention of using some chemicals, good, but it end up going to the water sources. That's why we need a special materials to remove them. And that's where people like us, like material scientists, coming into play. The material we developed is a porous in nature, totally organic. What it can do, if you put this porous polymeric material into the polluted water, they can selectively absorb only these pollutants. Because if you think about 1 gram of material, we call it as a surface area. The area where this molecule can go and sit is huge. If you say 1 gram means I'm talking about maybe a 2-3 soccer field area. The most important thing here is our material can be easily regenerated. Even in lowest concentration, these pollutants can be removed within few seconds. Any knowledge, be it scientific or any sort of the knowledge, without social cause is nothing to me. I truly think that the best gift you can give to your next generation will be pure air and pure water. Yeah, I mean, that's my message. During this talk, wherever I go, I say this. I think, of course, you can think about.
So when I came to US, I was
Um, you can think about saving, you can think about LIC, you can think about apartment, you can think about land. But I think the biggest challenge for us, even I have two little ones at home, I think biggest challenge for us to giving pure air and pure water, because we are facing it already. Look at Delhi, we are facing it. And I mean, 10 years ago people are talking about it, but now we are experiencing it. And I think Bangalore is not too far, and even my city or Mysore is not too far from that. I think it's our responsibility, it's a collective responsibility. Let's work together and try to make the difference. Can you go to last? Okay, I can go. Can you go to the presentation? I'm really sorry for this. Yeah. But I think I'm still within the time given to me. I started 11:47. Okay, just to let you know. Okay. But anyhow, I think I just wanted to thank people who are working. Usually I go places and I talk and I give ideas, but the real people who are working in lab are my research students, my postdocs, and we have a lot of collaboration. I think I have collaboration over 27 countries. That's where these are all the people who are responsible for doing a lot of things collectively. And this is my group. This photo we took some time ago. And we are all looking happy, only in photo, I'm just joking. And I think you are familiar with this face, I'm sure. Dr. Karthik, he was a part of my group for a month. Hopefully you will see what he did in coming days. We are working on 3 manuscripts together. So I think you will see that, and thank you for coming, Karthik, and it's always a pleasure to be here, and I hope you enjoyed my talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shetty, for such an innovative, interesting, and motivating speech. So, the topic is open for discussion. If any of you have any questions.
Yes, sir. Nice presentation. Actually, we are working on separation of many dyes using membrane technology. As you told in your presentation, your material is only absorbing cationic dyes. It's a size-based sieving or charge-based sieving. Charge-based. You told that the cationic size is similar to that your pore size of your material. All cationic dyes having same size, molecular size or what? And which type of cationic dyes you are saving?
The size of the cavity, what I call it as pore cavity, is good enough to accommodate the range of size actually. But the commanding matter here is about the synergic effect. Because when we say about dyes, cationic, we are focusing only about charge, but you are forgetting the fact most of these dyes are having hydrophobic interaction. So it's not just about size dependent, but how effectively they interact within this cavity. That is deciding. So just to answer you in short, in our case, it's not like you have particular nanometer size. Whatever range we tried is suitable because our pore is already in a higher end nanometer size. Because most of the dye molecules are small molecules. They are smaller than that. So it accommodates that way. But the driving force here is you have a membrane here. It has anionic in nature. I think I didn't talk about it. I showed you its zeta potential. When you go to the different pH, it is going into a negative zeta potential, which means the driving force here is anionic surface. It takes cationic, it puts inside. Then, whether these dyes supposed to stay there or not, it depends on the interaction of these dye molecule within this cavity.
Then hydrophobicity, you have casted a membrane. How you characterize that hydrophobicity and hydrophobicity?
Contact angle measurement. It's the easiest, straightforward measurement. Thank you.
conclusion. Any other questions?
If no questions, I have a conclusion. Please go ahead.
Sir, we are working on a meta-sulfur battery, sir.
Meta-sulfur
battery.
Meta-sulfur, okay.
Yes, sir. As you told that your material interpretation technique. What is the temperature stability, sir? Maximum temperature it can sustain.
Our material, it's a general question. So
Yes, sir.
I can tell you the range. Some of our material is stable up to 300 degrees Celsius. So just to let you know, we are working on sulfur batteries as well. Our one paper is now in Jack's revision, so you will see in a few months.
Okay. What is the flexibility, sir, because of the
Which one?
flexibility
Oh.
material, that means material only?
What sort of flexibility you're talking about? Mechanical flexibility or nano domain flexibility?
Nano domain flexibility.
Nano domain is quite flexible.
Okay.
The physical flexibility is not that great.
Thank you.
Hope I can have a question.
Please, short it.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Dinesh Reddy, for sharing exciting and very enlightening research what you are doing. And I am feeling it's worth spending my time today.
Thank you.
Yeah. So my question is not into technical. So this really advanced research. So is there any initiatives where we can take into a root source into our village and really into a ground level, which can help our nations across our every public who can understand? Because you see, I think the way the internet and the mobile technology is reaching to our really the rural people, but these researchers are not really reaching them. How can we make this to reach those people? Is there any initiatives or what initiatives? Otherwise, how can we do and we can make it a better education to our rural people?
Yeah, thank you for bringing this question. I think maybe Dr. Karthik is aware of that. One thing I have been doing is a lot of awareness talks. Whenever I'm in India, if I come for 3 weeks, at least 12 to 13 days I spend on going to schools and institutions and the organization, those who are interested in social cause. I think water-related issue, we started an initiative called Save the Pond. Kare Udisi Abhiyana, we started very seriously. I am just resource person to tell one of the things we need to do other than this research, the fundamental thing is the increasing the groundwater level. The issue here is we used to have a lot of ponds in my places we used to call this, the wide range ponds are called Madaga, and the rainwater used to stay there for a long time and sink in and groundwater level used to go up. But the problem is we are so much commercialized now, everywhere everything closed and blocked and new buildings come up. So whatever water we are getting, and it's directly going into sea, okay? There is no sinking time. So I think rain harvesting is very, very important. I think there are a lot of people doing those things. But just going back to the fundamental change, what we can do, the way we use water. For example, I'm sure there are a lot of people, while they are using flush, while they are using shower, while they are using tap water, tell me how many, put your hands, I always ask this question, put your hand on your heart and tell me, when you are doing a toothbrush, right, how many people just putting this tap on and doing things? Just a very basic thing. Do you know how much water you are wasting during that process? I think even though I am in foreign country, I always use a lota glass when I am using this kind of things because I take from lota. This is an old style. Our grandfathers used to do that. Okay, but now we have enough thing. Just pour and continuously going, and you are doing something else, right? So that's one basic thing. These kind of small things can save more water than even purified water, honestly. But the second part of the talk is about the technology reaching the rural part, right? I think I have very little control over it in India because I'm not part of any CSIR initiatives. For whatever reason, we can talk behind the mic. But I think the college level initiatives, one thing what we can do, obviously I think we are working on it with one foundation called Ailesha. Which one? Yeah, no need. It is there. If you go to YouTube and give my name, there are a lot of initiatives what you're doing. Uh, it is available. So what I'm trying to tell you is what we are trying to do now is developing an app which can every day remind you you are doing something wrong. It will remind you every morning, I would say, slap you, saying that, look, you are doing something wrong. So we are trying to do that. Of course, it depends how many people will install this app. But I think if you install this app, I think it will really give you the reality what we are facing about what, okay? So we are doing a lot of things like that. But people like you, those who can understand science, I always say like this because I think I have little control over CSIR or politics or institutional thing. I believe in my own individual thing. What we can do as an educated people, and you all, students and everybody, and it was very effective when I started for cancer, for example. Few years ago in my rural place, I started a group called Awareness Group for Cancer for early diagnosis. In my places, most of the cancer, even curable cancer like breast cancer, okay, liver cancer. Nowadays in modern medicine, you can cure that, throat cancer. But the problem what we are facing, we always end up knowing in third stage or fourth stage. If you can identify in stage 1, in our Western term we have something called stage 0. Okay? If you can identify that in early diagnosis, then a lot of cancer can be curable. A lot of cancer, not all cancers, obviously. Okay? So what we did, we set up a group, BSc students. We made a group, I'm in abroad, right? But they go to every home in village, weekends, and they ask them whether they did at least once in a year complete diagnostic test. And especially in Manipal, it is very close to my place, there they have a test. They can identify even circulating tumor cells as well, and also the tumor related whatever biological biomolecule increase in our body. Then of course you need to do further testing, right? So, but the issue what I'm facing is a perspective issue. Okay, 1 year we started this was very successful program, but later it hit us very bad because a lot of people in my village, they spend 5,000 rupees to do this whole body checkup and they end up getting all negative. You know what I'm trying to tell you. Right? So they're supposed to be happy, but instead they say, we wasted 5,000. So they are not going next year. So this is the multifold awareness we're supposed to do. But what I'm trying to tell you is, as an individual, as an educated people, educated, not qualified, educated people, we can do a lot of things. Okay, that's what we can do. Yeah. Anything else? Maybe I took a lot of time. I don't know, but yeah.
So if there are any other questions, I think in the tea break or lunch break, we can discuss with them. So thank you very much, and I think we'll move to the next.
Sure. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for the informative and enlightening session. We truly enjoyed it. Now, we'll move on to a invited talk by Dr. Edward Tirupataya, sir, Scientist C, CSRTR Mysuru. This session is chaired by Dr. H. D. Devara Siddhappa, sir, Professor, Department of Chemistry, University of Mysore, who will be introduced to you all by Ms. Varsha Raj, Research Scholar, Department of Chemistry. Over to you. I take the honor in introducing the chair of this session, Dr. H. D. Revan Siddhappa, Professor, Department of Studies in Chemistry, University of Mysore, Manasagambotri, Mysore. His area of expertise are coordination chemistry and catalysis, DNA, protein interaction studies, organic synthesis, spectrophotometry, trace element detection, and pharmaceutical analysis. He has successfully guided 15 PhD candidates and one postdoctoral candidate. 5 students are currently working under him for their PhD degree. He is a member of many prestigious academic societies, to name a few: Indian Association of Solid State Chemists and Allied Scientists, Indian Society of Analytical Scientists, Indian Association of Nuclear Chemists and Allied Scientists. Sir is also a member of several academic councils. He has published his research work in several national and international journals. He has total 171 publications. He has also worked as principal investigator for two successfully completed research projects. One was sponsored by UGC. A warm welcome to you, sir. It's a privilege to have you here. Over to you.
Thank you for inviting me to this international symposium. And I thank one of the candidates introduced this August audience. So now the present speaker is Dr. Yelva Tirupataya. He did his MSc degree in microbiology subject from Karnataka University, Dharwad in the year 2002, and also working as assistant professor in biotechnology subject at Srindi Institute of Science and Technology, Hyderabad, during the period of 2004 and 2006. And he qualified in almost all the national level examinations, say for example UGC, NET and GATE qualified, and also worked as DBT, SRF and ICMR Senior Research Fellow under different projects at Osmania University. And also, he did his PhD degree in microbiology from Osmania University in 2012 and working as R&D scientist at different companies and also that ICMR National Institute of Nutrition, Hyderabad. And he has received the Fast Track Young Scientist Award in the year 2013 to 2015. From 2015 to till date, he is working as a scientist at the Central Sericulture Research and Training Institute, Mysore, and he also published more than 30 publications in the international journals, participated in many conferences and other lecture series, and he has completed 10 research projects so far. With this simple brief biodata, I am inviting Yerva Tirupataya for presenting his lecture.
Good afternoon all. Now I am going to start topic on emerging biorefineries from ignocellular waste. Every day we talk a lot about pollutions, global warming, so many things. All these because of what? Why it came all these things? Who created all these things? We only created. Everything happens either in the universe or on Earth because of what? It is of evolution. One is universal evolution, second is biological evolution, it is on Earth. You know, if you go back around some billion years ago, talk about universal evolution. Now we are a lot of fear about global warming, but each and every atom within us, whatever we are seeing on Earth, everything exposed to some million degrees of temperature. You know? Before our sun, there was one more primary sun. Whatever the atoms within our body all created that time. Now we are enjoying the cool temperature. And you come to the again Earth. Around 3 billion years ago, just to think about the life started on Earth. Now we are talking carbon dioxide is the pollutant, it is causing global warming. But that time when microbes evolved on Earth, carbon dioxide is the essential molecule, and the oxygen what we are thinking now is the essential is that time little oxygen also tags it to the life what was there that time. So see how things changed. It is all about evolution. Now we are thinking about all these problems. Of course, we are trying to solve it, but everything is driving by something else. That is evolution. It takes how it has to go. When we are all there here in this hall, it also happened when big program is there. That is evolutionary program. Everything happened for that. We haven't faced it, but we think everything is in our control. See, there was no human beings, but we came from microbes to humans. See, biological evolution struggle like anything. So everything happens for a good. Whatever is not there, it comes. Even you see that whatever the chemical atoms we are thinking about, all these are came from what? Invisible particles. Whatever we are seeing is came from invisible things. Yeah, now we start our start. Please go to the next. You know, depletes from all petroleum reserves, natural gases, all. You know that it is depleting. We cannot create whatever is the sea bottom or down. We are recovering. We are using like anything. You know, human population increasing. Every day, energy requirements are more. You know, everything is connected with energy use. So everything is going to finish it, but there is again solution. We don't know how to use the electricity from sunlight. Now we came to know that. Automatically, one solution will come. When problems comes, solution will come. You know, release of carbon dioxide causes global warming, acid rain, air erosion, acidifications, all these demanding the alternative strategies. Now we are following that. You see that we can convert into the some terms. Actually, the carbon dioxide released due to the petrol and natural gas burning is around 1.2 into 10 to the 13 kg. That we can convert into the tons. And you see the volcanoes. See that is also releasing carbon dioxide about 2 into 10 to the power of 11 kgs. For the past few decades, serious attempts have been made to shift from the petroleum resources to the eco-friendly energy sources for the benefit of environment, society, and economy. Sustainability of the biorefineries is mainly depending on how we use the biomass into the valuable products. Things what we call this. You don't know when petrol burns, it releases sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide, all these things. And ultimately they form the H2SO4 and HO. I'm not a professional chemist. I speak with everything is basic chemistry and simple definitions. And then same thing, carbon dioxide also, you know what happens, all ice will melt and it causes lot of water. And sea environment will also change. And temperature also, because carbon dioxide absorbs the light from the sunlight and it will not reflect again. It creates the more heat on Earth. That you all you know. The acid rains, you know that. Any acid, what it will do? It causes dissolving of metals because it changes the oxidation state. So that any metals will dissolve, even in our buildings, wherever iron is there, any other metals are there. Even forest also, all trees, leaf will lose like anything, you know, acid effect. H2SO4 and HNO3 are the strong acids. Another way, ocean acidification, you know, when carbon dioxide level increases, there is a balance between the carbonates and this carbon dioxide will be the imbalance that causes the decrease of the ocean pH. Usually ocean pH around 8. When decrease in pH causes a disturbance in the all kind of ocean life. These are the main things will happen due to the rise of carbon dioxide on Earth. Just see that. Okay. Now what is the solution? Increasing the carbon dioxide causing so many problems. Now what to do? There are some other alternatives like biological systems gives some alternatives. Already we know that Brazil and US are successful in blending of ethanol in liquid petrol up to 20-30%. They started around almost 20 years back. Brazil and the US already started. They are blending ethanol in the petrol. But last year our Indian government also started initiatives that in India all petrol bunks they have to blend around 10 to 20% of ethanol. But we don't have ethanol, we have to import from that. Only we have very insufficient ethanol to blend all the petrol bunks, whatever the petrol we are generating. Only whatever we are getting from the sugar molasses, that ethanol we are using so far. Now government is initiating to take other alternatives. And Brazil mainly uses the sugarcane for the production of ethanol. You know sugarcane it contains sucrose. Sucrose yeast can convert sucrose into ethanol. And US is on the starch. Starch contains mainly corn starch contains mainly polymer of glucose, breakdown by the enzyme used ultimately glucose converting into bioethanol. But there are concern about the utilization of the fertile lands for the fuel production instead of food grains cultivation for growing population. You know that India, China, lot of population are there. Whatever the land is there, mainly for the purpose of food grains. If you use that land for the production of ethanol, so again scarcity of the food. Food is the safest, then only the energy. So now it is very good to use the any kind of lignocellulose available on the crop residues. It is a byproduct of any crop residue. Lignocellulose also we know that it contains a lot of cellulose. If you convert the cellulose into the glucose, you can use for the ethanol production. Please go to the next. Like we know that mobile generations, whenever some advancement comes, we change the next generations. Similarly, ethanol production also, first generation bioethanol is mainly from sugar corn and sugar cane. Second generation is mainly from the lignocellulose. Now government is asking now to do the lignocellulose production of ethanol. Third generation is use of the algae. Algae, you know that wherever what is there, just you can grow and we can recycle it. Next, please. Now you know that Indian sericulture, we are producing tons of silk. For production of silk, mulberry silkworm grows only on the mulberry leaf, and more than some lakhs of tons of that mulberry straw is simply releasing, and people are using for the only burning for the cooking gas. And it is nothing but a lignocellulose. Lignocellulose, we know it is made up of lignin, cellulose, and hemicellulose. So that we can convert into the glucose and we can use for the ethanol production. And also later also it releases lot of litter that also we can use for ethanol and hydrogen production. Please go next. This is the all simple equations how we can make it. Just we can compare the petrol and gas and ethanol, whatever it is, how much it is. Octane is the mainly the component in the petrol. Formula, if you see that, is C8H8. It takes around 25 molecules of oxygen per 2 moles of octane, and it gives 60 moles of carbon dioxide, 18 moles of water. And energy releases is more than 5,483 kilojoules. And if you see the methane gas also gives 1780 kilojoules. And ethanol, you can see that it releases 2 molecules of ethanol releases by taking 6 carbon atoms, 6 oxygen molecules, 6 moles of oxygen molecules gives 4 moles of carbon dioxide and 6 moles of hydrogen. Gives 2734 kilojoules. And this ethanol we can get from the glucose. Glucose will come from where? It comes synthesized by the plants from the photosynthesis. So that whatever the carbon dioxide released due to the ethanol will be recycled into the photosynthesis. During the synthesis of glucose molecules, it will consume the carbon dioxide. So there will be balance. And if you take the petrol or methane, there is no balance. Only rise of the carbon dioxide. But if you use the ethanol from the lignocellulosic material, it is every crop it will be recycling. That is the benefit of using bioethanol. Yeah, please go. You can see the simple chemistry. You all are experts in chemistry. Lignocellulose, you can see that cellulose, lignin, hemicellulose, all this. Now, how to extract? First, what we have to do? Lignin we have to remove. You know, lignin is very hard. We have to treat with what? Either alcohol or acid. Any alcohol, this thing, not alcohol, alkali, NaOH. If you treat with NaOH, whatever the lignin will be there, it will go some extent. Then remaining will be the cellulose and hemicellulose. If you do the H2SO4 or any acid treatment, the H2SO4 will dissolve some of the hemicellulose and some of the cellulose also. It gives the monomers of molecules. Yeah, next. This is the process. First, whatever the raw material, you have to take it and we have to dry that. We have to make the powder, you know that. Then after that, we have to treat with either alkali or acid treatment. After acid and alkali treatment will not dissolve all the polymers present in the raw material. So again, we have to take the help of either enzymes or bacteria. The enzymes, cellulose mainly breaks the cellulose molecules and gives the glucose. Then we have to do the fermentation by using the either yeast or bacteria. The yeast is mainly, baker yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae simply produces, and Gemmomonas mobilis. Now, lot of genetic engineering happened. They modified genetically the bacteria yeast. Directly, they can use also lignocellulose. They produce enzymes and convert it to polymers to monomers and produces the ethanol. Here, another drawback with ethanol production is, water also H2O and ethanol C2H5OH. Like water bond formation, hydrogen bonds will form. Similar way, water also forms bonds with the ethanol, the fermentation broth. So if you do the distillation, even the boiling point of ethanol is less than water, but completely we cannot eliminate it. There you are chemistry experts knows. To purify 100% ethanol from the fermentation broth without water, it requires your expertise. Please, next. So we cannot remove all the water from the ethanol. So that ethanol also directly we can use as a fuel cell. Here, that anode will take the electrons from the ethanol and releases the acetic acid. Directly it gives the electricity. Now all are alternatively looking for the development of the fuel cells. Next, we can. Next slide. Injection to ethanol and even from lignocellulose we can produce the hydrogen. Hydrogen will give only the water, no carbon dioxide. It is still better than the ethanol, production of hydrogen from any waste material. Even your house cooking waste also we can produce the hydrogen. Now all are shifting from the electric vehicles to the hydrogen fuels. You know that 1 mole of hydrogen and oxygen useless to just water. We can generate water also. Earlier it was presenting scarcity of water. If we can use the hydrogen, we get lot of water. Another way to capture energy in chemical bond oxygen, that whatever electricity we can use through electrolysis, water we can break and we can release the hydrogen. That is one way. Second is use of lignocellulosic waste material for production of hydrogen. Then can use for production of hydrogen from the lignocellulosic waste. One is Clostridium, second one is Dermatologist. These are the different kinds of bacteria. They produce good amount of hydrogen. Almost 50% of glucose they convert into the hydrogen. This is the simple process how we can make. We have to process the like ethanol. We have to process raw material. Then we have to do the fermentation. Then hydrogen gas will come. But hydrogen is a highly flammable gas. It may create explosives. So proper transportation is very important. Next. It's also hydrogen fuel cells. Hydrogen directly we cannot use like petrol. Initially we have to develop the fuel cell. Similar like alcohol. We inject the hydrogen into the fuel cells. There will be anode will be there. It will take electrons. It pass to the cathode. While passing that, it gives the electricity. That we can use. And that electricity we can charge to the vehicles. But here advantage is fuel cells directly we can put in the cars and it will transfer to the batteries directly. Like petrol, you can go to the stations, you can fill it hydrogen. But electric charge, it takes some hours. But that is the advantage of using hydrogen. Now all fuels and energy sources shifting towards the hydrogen. Please go next. This is one more thing. Microbial fuel cells. Your bacteria directly will produce the electricity. There are certain kinds of bacteria. They have nanowires in their membranes. Whatever organic material they consume, you know that anything ultimately turns to the electrons only. Electron transport cells. There some proteins capture those electrons and give the electricity. That also we can use directly. It is also now developing. Thank you. This is how we can use the waste into the energy. These are the different packages like the software packages. You can produce the bioethanol, biofuels like microbial fuel cells and hydrogen fuel cells. We can produce from waste. This is one alternative solution for the carbon dioxide. Releasing of carbon dioxide and global warming. Can ask any doubts? Yes, sir.
Any questions or any clarifications? So it's a highly informative lecture from Dr. Tirupataya.
It may be simple, but it is having practical utility. This is ongoing project, one of my projects.
We are having both ethanol fuel and ethanol fuel.
Yes, sir. Ethanol fuel. Ethanol fuel already we know. Traffic polices use the same thing. Ethanol fuel. They put here that is nothing but ethanol fuel, sir. It gives the more ethanol we consume, it will give more reading. That is well known, but practical utility is not there. But for large scale, it requires some modifications because it releases a lot of acetic acid as a byproduct. Vehicles, if you put ethanol fuel cells, that acetic acid removal becomes big task. That's what it is not coming to the vehicles. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, this symposium aims to that emerging materials for sustainable energy and environment. Almost the two sessions keynote address by Dinesh Shetty is also the materials prepared for the different purposes, exclusively for environmental purpose and energy purpose. And you are also saying there's some biomass, biomass converted to ethanol or biofuels for different purposes. So totally energy. So in both the cases, that central science is chemistry. Mainly the central science. This is a multidisciplinary subject. So any materials that is multidisciplinary subject, so that needs physics, chemistry, and as well as some biology part. So therefore, the central part of it is chemistry part. Because Tirupadaya says so many cases that chemistry part, but simple chemistry you said. Okay. So with this, I conclude this session with a big applause for Tirupadaya.
So for the informative session, an announcement. The poster presentation participants are requested you all to present your posters on the board that has been arranged on the first floor. Okay, thank you. Now we will break for lunch. We will gather back here at 2:30 after lunch. The lunch is arranged at the first floor. I request everyone to join for lunch. Thank you.
Whatever, like both outside the box. That is the big saving. 90% can feedback. Remaining 10% will have to be fixed. That is some high tech.